Welcome to the second episode of Table Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Burns. And it's been kind of a wild ride since I recorded the first one. I recorded the first one prior to Halloween because the idea was to do my big launch day on Halloween of 2025, if you're watching this down the line. And that didn't happen because if you're watching this, probably odds are you're watching it in December, and that's being hopeful. So at the time of recording, it is Thanksgiving week. Well, it's the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And so was just kind of excited to get back into it. In all honesty and complete and utter honesty, I'm actually recording this before I record the two videos that came with launch. And at the time of this video, I haven't actually locked in what the other video of this week would have been or would be. Yeah, would be. And so that's actually still up in the air. So who knows? Who knows what I'm doing? Who knows if I even did another video this week? I would certainly like to. I like to keep to my schedule, my self-imposed schedule. But why am I doing this instead of recording the other videos I want to record? Well, those take a little bit more time. They take a little bit more effort. There's script and all that stuff. And honestly, what I want to talk about is fresh on my mind. And so I said, okay, I want to shoot the second episode of the podcast and just get that out of the way because I want to talk about this issue at this point in time. So, what is that issue? That issue is the current state of Dungeons and Dragons. And I know people talk about it all the time. Every video you see on YouTube and on the internet is D&D is dead. Is this the end of D&D? Every time a new book comes out. No, D&D is not dead. In my opinion, probably D&D is never going to die. It's been around for such a long time. They've survived so much. They survived 4th edition. Like, this current state is really weird and really odd, and they have shaken their foundation a lot, but I don't think the game is going anywhere. And I'll kind of just front load, let's just front load real quick. I really don't want to use this as a space where I'm going to be like, D&D is bad. Like you see so many things on the, of people just being like, oh, I'm ripping this apart. And there's totally room for criticism. But I kind of want to keep things lighter here, keep things on the more up and up. So what does that mean, right? So what is my current gripe with D&D? I feel like they have made the financial decision that it makes more sense to focus on player-facing content, which makes sense. I mean, like that's, like if you look at the player base you have, right? It's probably, my gut says 10% Dungeon Masters and 90% players. But I feel like it's probably more like 10% only Dungeon Masters and 90% only players. And there's probably like the exact metrics of player DM is probably a little bit different. But so that player base is more likely to buy your book, right? If you write an adventure module, well, only the DM will purchase that. If you write a player expansion like we just saw with Heroes of Faerun, it comes out, and now if you want the newest, coolest classes, the newest, coolest features and abilities, well, okay, purchase Heroes of Faerun. And then the DM also has to purchase that because they need to be able to reference what abilities the players are bringing to the table. So we kind of enter into this weird little like back and forth, right? Where it's any game design has power creep. And with a tabletop game, especially like D&D, and one thing I noticed, and this was weird, and I haven't heard this touched on anywhere else. Also, major preface. I don't actually own the Heroes of Faerun book or the Adventures in Faerun. I have seen some reviews, and I kind of flipped through it at my local game store just to get a feel of what's in it. This is more completely in theory. I've not read the book, and this is not by any means a review of the book. This is just more so what I've noticed about D&D as a whole that I feel like Heroes of Faerun is kind of like pointing to with everything I've looked at about the book. So, but back on topic, what I've noticed is that they actually on the bottom it said something expansion, like Dungeons and Dragons expansion, and I don't know that I've ever like seen that. Let me see. I mean, I've got my Xanathars, right here. What does it say on here? No, it just says Dungeons and Dragons, Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It doesn't say like it's an expansion, like a DLC or something like that. Like it's the freaking Sims 4. That's what expansion comes to mind. You are building upon the content, and of course that's what Xanathar's and Tasha's does. But like down here, the only really thing that's like, okay, this is like an expansion is for use with 5th edition Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, DMG, that thing, right? So we're calling this an expansion, which in my mind, like that's fine. That's what it is. It's a rules expansion. Totally fine. But in my mind, that connotates more with video games, right? So your financial model now is increase player options, increase player choices, because that is what players will buy and DMs will also buy in turn, right? You write an adventure, you write Curse of Strahd. Everybody that's watching this that's played D&D, and I'm not saying everybody, probably 95% is my guess, that has at least heard of Curse of Strahd if you've been playing D&D for a little bit, right? If you're watching this video, my 5th video on the channel, this is going to be an obscure YouTube page at this point in time unless something crazy has happened. If you're this deep in D&D YouTube, you know what Curse of Strahd is. Do you own Curse of Strahd? Now that's the question. If you're a DM that's running it, yeah, probably. You may be a player that had interest in running it or reading it, yeah, but odds are, I feel like probably you don't own Curse of Strahd. I own it via the grapevine and all this stuff. Like I don't have a physical copy, but I have a digital copy. And just because I like to read them, I have most of the 5th edition adventures, and I have never run one, but I do like to read them. But anyway, but you have no reason to buy Curse of Strahd unless you're going to run Curse of Strahd, or if you just want to be a collector. And so the money that goes into making that book is it's not wasted money in the eyes of us, the player, of us, the consumer, right? But to a mega corporation like Hasbro, it's not the utmost profitable avenue. So I think their idea is, okay, let's just make player focusing things. And kind of the complaint I've seen and gotten is, well, like when is the first 5.5 official adventure going to come out? When are they going to do an adventure module? They've done 2, they've only done 1 campaign setting so far, but I think Eberron's right around the corner, if I'm not mistaken. So what do they do with that? What are they doing? Like, where does the Adventures League and organized play, like, what do they have on the horizon? Nothing right now. There's nothing announced. They did the dungeon or the whatever, that anthology of dragon adventures. From what I've heard, it wasn't very good. Again, read it yourself. I don't own that. I don't own any of the 5.5 content aside from the core 3 books. I don't even have them physical. I just have them digital. These are my physical books. I have a lot more RPG books that will fill out the space the more goes on, and because I actually have a lot more physical RPG books that are not Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, yeah, flex it, yeah, I'm so cool. Oh, you like tabletop RPGs? Name 3 systems that aren't Dungeons and Dragons, and Pathfinder doesn't count. But anyway, they're kind of going this avenue where they're doing the anthologies, which is weird. I don't know why they're doing anthologies. That I don't fully. I think probably the mindset with anthologies is, okay, let's let's do something that more DMs will need, because you can take one of those anthology adventures, right? And in terms of design, the design is for you to plug it in. And what was the last full, I'm going to look this up. What was the last full adventure we got? Was it Dragonlance? I think it was Dragonlance. Featured adventures. I think it was Dragonlance. That wasn't an anthology. Because here's the Borderlands and anthology. Oh, it's Vecna, Eve of Ruin. Okay. But that's like a 10th level. Like, that does count, right? But that one feels a little weird. The one, like, I think it's a level 3, maybe a level 3, level 1, whatever it is. Dragonlance was the last one. When did Dragonlance even come out? I don't know. Let's look that up too. It was post-COVID, I'm pretty sure. Dragonlance. Shadow of the Dragon Queen. Release date. December 6, 2022. As of the recording of this, that was almost 3 years ago. Vecna, Eve of Ruin. Vecna, Eve of Ruin release date was May 21, 2024, which was last year. So that's not terrible. So I guess that's a year and a half. But it was a level 10. It was kind of like the capstone to original 5e. But then in September of 24, the new player's handbook came out. That was over a year ago, and we don't have an adventure, you know? And so why is that? What is the thought process? I think the thought process behind that is they are outsourcing adventure creation to dungeon masters. So what does that mean? That means that obviously we're going to play the game. If you've bought the books, you're going to play the game. I have the original 5e. I'm going to play the game. But am I going to run a pre-written adventure? Well, no, because they're not coming out with any. But if I was, would I run one? Maybe. I mean, like, I'm not opposed. I think, and honestly, I think that they're really missing the mark, because the fact that, like, in the content creation space, or the loudest voices, right? They're not the people that work. I mean, you might be working a full-time job. I'm not saying that. Like, whatever, right? But that kind of, like, sense of the loudest voices are the people that devote the most time to it. Someone who does not devote a lot of time to it. Like, you may work 40, 50 hours a week and want to hang out with your friends and play D&D. You're the DM. You're not a writer. You are a creative because you're playing the game. I do firmly believe that. But it may just not be your thing. You don't want to write this huge epic campaign. Okay, I want to write something pre-written that fits into whatever genre, right? And they did the thing where they're like, it's backwards compatible, but they're not really. Like, the power balancing is different, and you could probably, like, swap out some of the old, like, monsters with the new ones, but there's not always a one-to-one comparison, especially in a lot of these modules that have just, like, random hyper-specific monsters that are not updated. And for a casual player or casual DM, even not even like a beginner, just someone who DMs just for the love of the game, you know what I mean? They're probably not gonna have the want to go in there and homebrew all this stuff. But so what they're doing is they're outsourcing adventure creation to us, the community, right? To the player, to the DM. And that is manifesting in a completely untapped market for them. Because if you go on Kickstarter, you will find a plethora of fully backed, like fully funded 5e adventures. Like, I'm talking, and like but then what they do, and I think this is like the crux of it, where they probably decided that they didn't have to do this anymore. they've started like, I don't know the financials, right? Like, and I'm not like bashing anybody that partners with Wizards and gets their like adventure, their third party adventure on D&D Beyond. Like that's cool. That's great. Like that's awesome. Cool, man. Like go for it. I'm not upset by that, and no one should be. But you get stuff like Humblewood, Crooked Moon, the Darkin or whatever that one was. Do they not even put them in their sources right off the front? Oh, they don't. Interesting. They used to, I think. I've got D&D Beyond pulled up right here. Oh, partnered content. Okay. I mean, there is. I mean, honestly, there's like a third of there's a third the amount of partnered content that they've added. That's not even that's not like official stuff. And so I think that's what they're gonna. I think that's the thought process is these people can not only write the content for us, but they can also get it funded, get it published, and then we just get a digital copy and throw it up on our website that everyone uses, and that we kind of not mandate everyone uses, but that's their goal, right? They're trying to, that everyone knows that they're trying to push it towards D&D Beyond. And if you remember all the stuff with the OGL, all that stuff, it kind of came down to they realized that we as a community make so much content that they don't monetize. And I think the thought process is, and let's be honest, we all know the trope. A lot of homebrew sucks. Like it's just bad. If I were to go on like D&D homebrew Reddit, I've done that, because I'm curious, right? I'm always curious what people put out. It's not good. And not to say like if you homebrew something, it has to be amazing. You're not a full-time game designer. But it's not that professional level. So I think what they're doing is they're like, okay, let's let them fund it. Like they'll get it funded. If it's good, it'll be funded. If it gets people buy it, it'll be successful. We monitor that. We reach out to that creator. We make a deal with them. And I don't know if it's hosted here, and I don't like that. Probably the creator gets a percentage. I'm just speculation. I don't know. I don't work for Wizards, and clearly I'm one of those people that, well, I'm just talking about it on the internet. Well, if you're just talking about it on the internet, you should just go out and write a campaign and get it on D&D Beyond and blah, 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 blah. If you got a problem with it, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just curious. So I think that's the thought process, right? Like, let the good stuff rise to the top. Once it reaches that upper echelon, make them a deal. Try to cut that deal, get it on D&D Beyond, and then it kind of enters into this weird gray area where people that are like casual, they'll see partner content, but in the back, like you might just think like, oh, it's on D&D Beyond. It shows up every time I try to make a character. All these options for these other books. Must be that. I mean, this must be like normal D&D, Oh, and then you subconsciously, maybe not subconsciously, but those people that don't like know, and that's a large population. Trust me, it is. Will then be like, okay, well, they came out with this book, but they didn't. They let somebody else make it, and then they just put it on their website. And it's marked. I'm not saying it's shady, but I think they're going to just outsource adventure creation to the community and let the community shake out the good stuff that they'll then turn around and put on their website. Now, what I'm curious to see, and I'm pretty, like, I haven't actually like delved into it. I probably could figure it out pretty quick. I'm curious if people are creating for the 2024 rules now, or if they're sticking with the 2014 rules, or if they're making like double versions, because other than creature stats, I think you could pretty easily do both and just have like two different versions, one for 2014, one for 2024. So that's interesting, right? Like, I think that's going to be where they're going for the time being, and I'm curious to see how it works out. Another thing that I wanted to talk about that I've been seeing advertised is this homebrew contest. The community, if you turn in a feat that they like, they will give you a jersey for it. Now, you might be thinking, oh, that's a cool little contest. Get yourself forever, wrote in the annuals of history. Like, you're there, you did it. You're in an official Wizards of the Coast book. But why are we having to outsource feat creation to the community? Is it a lack of writers? Might be. So let's get back to the problem that I think that we're going to run into, because I think there probably will keep coming out with these little anthology adventures, or do what they did with Adventures in Faerun, which I'm going to be honest, this is false marketing, because I got kind of excited when I was reading the description that it said, oh, there's 50 adventures in Adventures in Faerun. Let me just pull up the ad right now. Well, naturally, now that I'm trying to find it to bitch about it, I can't. But I read somewhere like, oh, there's 50 adventures in here, and I thought, oh, that's cool. Like, that would actually be really useful, even if they're one-page adventures. Until I read the free one that they released. And that was the Tenebris Stone. The Tenebris Stone. And I thought, we don't have any questions, like I said. I'm filming this before all this other stuff. So at this point in the podcast, we did tier list last time. We're 23 minutes in. I got a little bit of time. Why don't we just read this adventure? That's our activity for the day. So this is the free adventure that they used to sort of promote, right? I got an email about it. So this is the adventure that they're using to promote their book to D&D Beyond users. Now, does it only go to subscribers? I'm not sure. I'm a subscriber. If it only goes to subscribers, that's more of a problem. But if it went to everybody, whatever. Either way, it doesn't really change anything. They sent this to everybody, so I feel confident just reading it. If they copyright me or something like that, okay, sorry. I'll take it out. I'll take it down. But anyway, so, and I looked through, like I said, I looked through the Adventures in Faerun book. This is the structure of all the 50 adventures in there. And they're more just like they're more like side quests that you would like find in Skyrim, where it's like you talk to some random NPC, or you overhear a conversation, you get the little thing at the top that's like, investigate the Tenebris Stone. And then you go to some location, fight some monsters, get treasure, clear dungeon. So anyway, so this is the Tenebris Stone. For cultists devoted to Orcus. They have these, which I think are neat, where they kind of tell you what the adventure is about. It says like a deity, Ilmater adventure for level 3 characters. Okay. Situation. A cult devoted to Orcus has hidden a demonic stone in the Balsic Quarry in the village of Helmsdale and Damara. Don't kill me for this. The stone gives off waves of magical fear and despair, overwhelming workers and transforming some into undead. A monk of the Yellow Rose Monastery, Brother Trezig, investigated the quarry but has never returned. Helmsdale town elders, distraught over Trezig's disappearance, offer 300 gold pieces for the characters to investigate the quarry and learn his fate. They believe the quarry is cursed and have no knowledge of the stone hidden in its depths. Okay, there's your setup. Pretty simple. If you've been watching my shorts, we got the hooks method here. That short performed so bad. It was fine. 600 views is fine for a new channel, but it did not perform well. So anyway, so that's your setup. We don't get anything about how to like actually set up this adventure here. There's no NPCs explicitly listed. So like, right. So the hook here is that you go to Helmsdale, you probably like hear about this or whatever. They don't even set it up of how to even set up this adventure. There's the situation, but the hook is so like narrow that you have to do so much work to even just get this adventure started. Like, I'm probably in the full book, like I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Helmsdale is probably a section there, and there might be some like elder NPCs listed that I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But for this, that they're putting out to advertise, right, for this new book, this is what is present. So if I wanted to sit down and run this right now, I would have to come up with all these town elder NPCs, appearances, descriptions, personalities, all this stuff. Helmsdale, I'd have to look into and describe. Right, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. It's probably in the full book, maybe, but it might not be. I would be surprised if it's not, though. That's kind of how I feel about this recent stuff. Anyway, so they believe the quarry is cursed and have no knowledge of the stone hidden in its depths. Okay, so they sent this first guy. He didn't come back. So now, okay, let's drop the 300 gold pieces. Let's send the level 3 adventurers to go figure this out. So we jump straight into it. Encounters. Use the quarry map below for this adventure. The adventure consists of these encounters. And I'm just reading this. Like, there's no description of where the quarry is. There's not even a description of what the quarry looks like. It's just like a map, which is crazy to me. It's crazy. There's not even the little text bubbles that they typically give you to read. Work area. Just inside the quarry lurk 5 zombies, 2 ghouls, and a ghast. Seer's a ghast too. Once the laborers here, they were corrupted by the stone, but continue to swing picks and drive shovels in pointless labor. They fight anyone who disturbs them. This line, they fight anyone who disturbs them, is so incredibly vague. I don't know what I'm supposed to interpret that to mean. Typically in an adventure like this, you would write that they attack anyone that enters work area, which is a huge area on this map. I'll throw it up on the screen. That is a huge area on this map. And actually, it's a neat map. There's a lot of verticality and stuff like that. But the map itself kind of it's really hard to follow. The player's version is a little bit better. But there's a lot of verticality. So it's a cool map, actually. Like, I could see myself having an encounter in this space. I'll give them that. But anyone who disturbs, is that like they're swinging their picks and you stop them from swinging their picks and then they attack you? I don't know. Like, that's how I first interpreted it when I read through this the first time. I don't know if that was the intent. An unclear intent in an adventure, in my opinion, is a pretty big sin. So anyway, so this is actually a really tough encounter for 3rd level characters, especially to start out. Like, the 5 zombies are fine. They soak hit points, though. Like, that's a lot of attacks. Like, say you have your average party of 4. I mean, you're looking at 4 turns. I mean, more than 4 turns just to take out the zombies. And then you've got the ghouls, which are scary at that level, And then the ghast, which is also scary at that level. And that's a big fight to start out. And then you come down here to what's just referred to as ambush. Ambush is on the map. I mean, but again, the way this map is designed, this is all one big quarry area. So I don't know how like a big fight here wouldn't affect a big fight where the ambush is supposed to take place, which is to the north. Whatever, right? Whatever. Okay. Sarbrinder, a white clad in robes decorated with Orcus's symbols, hides behind a wagon to ambush the party. He is accompanied by 2 skeletons of former workers. Skeletons fight from high ground. Sarbinder singles out one character for mockery and insults, gleefully fighting until destroyed. Brother Tresig's broken body is partially buried behind nearby crates, clutching a parapet of health. The cause of this transformation is concealed behind an illusionary wall. If the illusion is touched, it vanishes. Okay, so here we get the only plot this adventure has. Like, again, this is like listed as like stop a cult of Orcus. So robes decorated with Orcus' symbol. So again, in the way this adventure is written, there's no like call for a check here, which is fine. Like, you don't have to hide information behind a check. Hey, if you go watch my first episode of Unsolicited Inspiration, there's the whole video is about skill checks and not requiring too many skill rolls. However, requiring no skill rolls in your entire adventure severely hurts a lot of the classes. And like, it hurts just the game flow. So that's our only story. That's the only connection to Orcus we have. And why is this guy here? What's he doing here? Why does he have a name? Why even give him a name? They're not going to talk to him. He ambushes them. No party's going to be in an ambush with this undead guy, which is also a pretty tough character. And then they're going to go, then they're going to go, then they're going to go, hey, what's your name? And he's like, I'm Starbinder, the cultist of Orcus, given eternal undeath, blah, 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 blah. Look at my robes, you notice the symbol? Look at me, I'm evil. Also, this whole, like, all we get about this guy's character is that he singles out one character for mockery and insults, gleefully fighting until destroyed. Okay, give the guy vicious mockery. Like, what? Like, this is neat, I guess. Like, it's a cool little, like, thing. But then, as a DM, you have to then, like, there's no reason that this is here either, you know? Like, I'm putting the cart before the horse. My whole point is that, like, you can do one-page dungeons and do them a lot better than this. You just need to focus on stuff that's important. And this line could have easily been changed into a line of description anywhere else. Because if you're not going to give any personality indication or description on this guy, on this Sarbinder, why devote it to he makes fun of people while they fight? Like, that's like neat. I mean, you should do that. There should be more talking and fighting, but that's a whole different topic. But still. And insults. Gleefully fighting until destroyed. Okay, that basically just means, like, let me translate. Let me translate as a DM. This character is not meant to be talked to. He's meant to be badass and scary, and you're supposed to fight him until he dies. He's not going to surrender. You're not going to talk to him. Okay. Brother Tresig's broken body is partially buried behind nearby crates. He's got a magic item. Cool. There's a reward. Neat. I think that's cool. You know, it's a neat magic item. But anyway, so you find his body. He's dead. Okay. You fought all these undead. Like, okay. I guess that's the reason that, also, man, I didn't realize this in my first read through, but okay, so you show up here, you fight all these undead. You could find the priest's body, and then what I was going to talk on is the cause of the transformation is concealed behind an illusionary wall. If the illusion is touched, it vanishes. 1. There's no way to indicate how you would know to touch that wall. 2. You find the broken body of this brother, of this priest, around a bunch of undead. Any player, the conclusion they are going to come to, if you do not call for a dice roll, is, oh, these undead took over, this white created these undead. And like, I guess maybe you could have Sarbinder say something in the fight, but like, odds are, like, that's maybe could happen. That's, I guess, what you have to do, but it's not written here. We're having to do so much work just to run this thing. Anyway, so if the illusion is touched, it vanishes. Again, like I said, there's no roll to indicate that you should touch this thing. Are the players supposed to investigate? Like, they may ask to investigate, and probably, I guess that's what you would do, right? You would let them investigate. They roll well, but again, okay. So first we didn't lock anything behind a skill check. And now we don't call for a skill check, but this is locked behind some ambiguous something. I guess it's locked behind them saying, I'm going to touch this wall. Like, what? And it's like on the map, it's a little 2-square spot. They don't have any reason to go over there. The fight's going to happen over here next to this cart. There's no reason that a token would even be over there unless they're directly saying, oh, we want to look around. And at that point, they're probably just trying to loot. Anyway, so let's say you run this adventure. Let's say, for one, your characters even care. For 2, they survive these 2 encounters. For 3, they somehow find the illusion. Okay, hidden cavity. Within the hidden cavity, the cult has hidden a relic called the Tenebris Stone. This is what the whole adventure centers around, and this is the first time it's mentioned in the last 2 paragraphs. There's only 2 paragraphs left. How are we gonna wrap this up? It's the namesake of the adventure, and it's not mentioned until the last 2 paragraphs. Ew. As the characters enter, each is subjected to a vision of a past failure. That's neat, actually. I do like that. That's cool. Roleplay through each of these scenes, inviting players to describe the failure and what their character did or didn't do in the past. A demonic figure appears in each vision, taunting the character. The character who seeks a DC 15 wisdom saving throw can change the tragic outcome of their vision. A character who fails experiences the tragedy all over again. When every vision has resolved, the characters return to their senses. The demonic figure of their visions manifests as a succubus. Succubus is vulnerable to all damage from characters who succeeded on the save and changed the outcome of their vision. But characters who failed that save and experienced a tragic outcome again have the frightened condition instead. This is interesting. One, I don't know why they went with a succubus for the monster when is Shadow Demon in the new rules? Shadow Demon is right there, right? Like they could have gone with Shadow Demon and it would have been more interesting, but like this like thing, and also like a dominate person. I'm just looking up the thing right now. Ton of damage resistances. They do have vulnerability if they succeed that 15 wisdom save, whatever. But like they have a dominate person in here, and they can do it every round. If you have 4 players, it's DC 15 charisma save. Like, this is a really hard encounter. And it's like, you might not find it. And like, they're not, I guess they are concentrating on, they're concentrating, so they can't just like dominate everybody, but you dominate the big swinging guy, like your barbarian or your fighter. Yeah, this is weird, man. This is a weird adventure. And I don't know if they're all... Okay, so anyway, conclusion. Sorry. Very important. We have to talk about the conclusion. This is what ties it all up, what ties it all together. If the succubus is defeated, Tenebris Stone loses its power and the quarry returns to normal over several days. Hey, that's the conclusion. What is the Tenebris Stone? What is it? Why is it here? If you would have just given me a sentence that said what it is, like it's freaking Orcus's kidney stone that he passed in the first age, I would have said, oh, okay, okay, cool, okay. But like, I don't know what it is. The players are not going to find this. Like, this is really, really bad. Like, it's bad. Like, that homebrew I was talking about a while ago, of like, you go on and you read the homebrew and you're like, oh, this isn't good. This is worse than that, because this is held to a higher standard, and we weren't even close. Like, this is really bad. It's bad. And again, I don't own the book. This was the advertisement I got for the book that I went out of my way to read. And I thought to myself, I need to go make a podcast so I can talk about how bad this adventure is. That's what this did for me. It literally, like, I guess it worked because I thought about buying the book so that I could read all these adventures and see if they're all just as bad. But like, if this is the one that they thought, yeah, this is a good one for us to run. You know, like we're gonna throw this out there. Yeah. Yeah, this will get the players excited. This will get the DMs wanting our book. Ooh, it's gonna be so good. Ooh. And then like this is the best one. This is the one you think really sums it up and is gonna make me want to buy your book. Ooh. Anyway, I'm running out of time. I've got probably like 5 minutes before I actually need to leave my house. So anyway, so let's just wrap up real quick. I'm concerned about the future of the DM side of Dungeons and Dragons. I think player expansions are going to keep coming. I think we'll end up with 50, 60 subclasses by, over the next 3-4 years. Will they be balanced? Maybe. Will another edition come out sooner? I think the time between editions is going to reduce because that will be the time between big money spikes. And I think financially, I don't think 5.5 did that well. So maybe, but these big companies, they don't really pivot. They don't really say we made a mistake and pivot. They did with the OGL because everyone canceled their subscriptions and basically Pathfinder blew up and was out of stock. It places like game stores were out of stock of Pathfinder, but Barnes and Noble was out of stock on Pathfinder, which means people are going to Barnes and Noble to buy their Pathfinder books, and not if you buy your RPG books from Barnes and Noble, there's nothing wrong with that. But that was that was the only time they pivoted in my from recent memory. They coming out with Sigil, they dropped it. I just don't know. I'm concerned. And I know for a fact the community is going to keep creating. That remains true. The DMs will always homebrew. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that that's an amazing part of the game. I homebrew all my campaigns. That is a pivotal part of this game. But what we have to kind of wonder, and I guess the question, here's the thesis of this rant that I've gone on for the last 43 minutes. 43-minute rant. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Here's kind of the crutch of this. We as a community have to figure out, right? Do we care about pre-written adventures? If the answer is no, that's fine. I'm not advocating for them. I do think that they're important. I do actually, to the health of the game. I do think they are important. But if the community at large doesn't feel that way, then if the money doesn't talk, right? And I'm not saying go buy all the adventures and get I'm not a Hasbro agent. I'm not a Hasbro agent. I'm not an agent. I'm not a Fed. That's not what I'm saying, but and I don't even know how we make positive change on this. It's just, I think it's an issue that is going to become more and more apparent as time goes on. I know game stores are struggling to fill the void and run something because you can't run the new rules with the old adventures. You can't. Also, the good old adventures people have played at this point, people that regularly play pre-writtens, have probably played Curse of Strahd, Tomb of Annihilation, some of the other big ones, right? They're not coming to mind right now, but they probably played at least those two. I would wager to say they've probably played them 2 or 3 times. Lost Mines of Phandelver, my goat. Yeah, Lost Mines of Phandelver. You have that. You have the quintessential. The first Goblin Ambush is a 1-page adventure, probably, if you cut down some. I don't know, actually. Well, anyway, I mean, you could do that, and that's a full adventure that, and it prompts something. This prompts maybe a little bit of character discussion about your vision, but that's all. And that's if you find it. And this is, I guess, it's structured as an adventure. It's more so a quest, in my opinion, and not a very good one. There's no reward except for the 300 gold. You could kill the undead, go get the 300 gold, and I can't see a reason that you would even ever think to go back to the quarry and realize the problem was still happening. Anyway, this has been Table Talk. kind of a downer episode next time. So that'll be episode 3. I'm hoping we'll have some questions by then, and we'll kind of take a more lighter tone. I meant to talk about my shorts that I've been doing. I kind of want to use this to talk about like analytics and stuff like that. But I'll just save that for next time and just kind of, I'll have more data by then anyway. So anyway, have a good one. Lucky rolls. And you know what? Go write an adventure and get it funded. That's an order.